Now, they didn't have any technology to do that in 2007. They still don't have any technology to do that in 2015. And so for the last couple of years, it's been a de facto prohibition of all new guns being sold in the state. This is what Smith & Wesson said in a statement. They said, a number of studies have indicated that microstamping is unreliable, it serves no safety purpose, it is cost prohibitive, and most importantly, it's not proven to aid at all in preventing or solving crimes. Nevertheless, California is pushing on with this. So now this case is being challenged on a constitutional basis before a judge, saying this is nothing than a thinly veiled attempt to abridge the freedom that we have as human beings to protect ourselves, a freedom that is recognized in the Second Amendment to the Constitution. So that is before a judge. But, you know, the reality of it is, whether it's on banning all handguns with this silly little fantasy device that is nothing but science fiction, as they point out. It's never existed. It can't be made. Banning that because they don't have this science fiction device on them. It's the same thing that they're doing in California, saying they're going to get rid of the personal belief exemption. That is simply their way of saying they're going to get rid of informed consent. It would sound pretty authoritarian if they said they were going to get rid of informed consent, so they change it to something else. Let's go to Michael in Florida. Michael, you wanted to talk about vaccines?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Michael.
Yes, you're live.
I am?
Yes, you're live.
Hi,
Go ahead.
I'm Michael from Florida.
Yes.
I just want to point out to you the article that you talked about the FDA and the clinical trials. I read that complete article on the 18th of February, and something I'd like to point out to you and your listeners. By the way, I hope you and your family and staff are well. What I'd like to point out is that out of the 600 clinical case studies that they did, they could only find 100 of the 600 that they did that they could tie the pharmaceutical company to. In other words, they redacted so many.
Yes, that's very important. Heavily redacted, just like it was some kind of an NSA document. Did you say you wrote that article, or you read it?
No, I did not write. It was actually, the article was February the 18th on Zero Hedge, and it was posted 18:30, which is 6:30 p.m. And they actually not only did they cover up, they actually made sure the pharmaceutical company names were not involved in the FDA reports.
Yes, that's what we're talking about in terms of regulatory capture. People think, hey, you know, the science is finished on this. And it's like the science hasn't even been done. We're not being allowed to see the results of the science. And when they do studies, and the studies, as we see in this case of this FDA article, as you're pointing out, when the studies show that something is dangerous and unproven, you've got their buddies in the FDA who really work for the pharmaceutical companies. They've been captured by the pharmaceutical companies. It's regulatory capture. They cover up this. They redact it as if it was some kind of a national security secret, because really, I guess it is, because national security, the nation is essentially run by these giant corporations, pharmaceutical companies, banks, and others like that. They essentially run the government. So I guess it is a question of national security. It's the security of their profits, isn't it, Michael? Okay, let's go to Jason in Texas. Jason, you want to talk about vaccines. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, David. There's an event on March 4th put on by Vaccine Advocacy called the Immunization Partnership, and it's going to be at the Texas State Capitol. And the information says, as an immunization stakeholder, you play an important role in the legislative process by keeping legislatures informed and prepared to act on key issues. Join TIP and immunization stakeholders from across the state as they educate lawmakers about immunizations.
Yeah, when they're talking about stakeholders, this is coming from the industry, isn't it?
Oh, it's 100%. It's a lobbyist group for the vaccine industry.
Wow, that's very important. People need to be aware. Thank you so much for making us aware of that. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Again, if you want to call in on any subject, it's 800-259-9231. We've got open lines and open subjects today.
Attention Alex Jones listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to Alex Jones unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-562-5136. Try it now to listen to Alex Jones 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-562-5136. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear Alex Jones untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-562-5136.
A lot of people's lives and bodies are out of balance. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops optimize pH level and get rid of harmful waste and acid. Just a few drops in water restores vibrance and energy and gets you back in balance. Now order 2 bottles and get $10 off your order. Sign up for monthly auto shipping and save 25%. Call 800-518-7615 or visit alkavision.com. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com.
As the New World Order continues to tighten its grip on every facet of our lives, we're all asking ourselves, how can we maintain our independence? The answer is clear. Get prepared, and you get prepared now. Now the only question left is, where do we begin? My Patriot Supply is here to help. Call 800-247-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. We're even covering the cost of shipping. Are you willing to rely on the government and FEMA in the event of an emergency? Call 800-274-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. You won't be able to find this deal online, and there is a strict limit of 4 per caller, so don't wait. Call now, 800-274-3070. That's 800-274-3070. Call right now.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
It's happening again. The feds are trying to ban your freedom to own body armor. In January, a newly introduced bill, H.R. 378, will take away your right to buy Level 3 and higher body armor. Katie Armor offers the most affordable Level 3 body armor packages on the market today. Protect yourself. Buy your body armor now before it's too late. Go to katiearmor.com. That's CATI armor.com. Come and take it.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. We're taking your calls this hour. That number is 800-259-9231. We're going to go back to your calls in just a moment. First, a couple of quick news items. The number of corporations in the U.S. has hit the lowest level seen in 40 years. 40 years. The Tax Foundation's report titled America's Shrinking Corporate Sector says there's a million fewer corporations than there were in 1986. It's because of economic and regulatory burdens. And guess what? That's by design. The large companies, we've been talking about the FDA, regulatory capture, how the FDA, the CDC work with the pharmaceutical industry, protecting them. Well, of course, the other part of this is that most of the large corporations have embraced the government regulations that will keep out their competition, will shut down their competition. Whether it's taxes or regulations, they seem to be able to escape these taxes and regulations. We said Merck got $2 billion in the second quarter of last year, paid no taxes. That's the way it works. But it also works when they get their industry regulated. They somehow seem to be able to sail through these regulations, just like the vaccine companies don't have to worry about lawsuits from the people that they damage with their product. You know, this is a serious thing because it's a factor of the American dream dying. The American dream was never about having a home mortgage. And that's really what's been sold to most people. The American dream was about starting your own business, and that's being shut down because of the economic situation, but mainly because of the burdens that have been placed on us predominantly by the federal government. Another article, Switzerland is flexing its parliamentary muscle, scrutinizing HSBC. Of course, this is in tax dodging efforts, but also there is the money laundering issues that have been scrutinized by that. HSBC was essentially given a slap on the hand by the Eric Holder Department of Justice. And guess what? The person that Obama has nominated to take his place, Loretta Lynch, was very much involved in that decision of just giving the big banks the pass and saying essentially that they were too big to jail. It was the Eric Holder administration of the Department of Justice that said, there's no interest of the public's in sending any of these people to jail. Let me tell you something. They would send any other person to jail in a heartbeat, just not the people who are running the big banks. And in other banking news, we see that this crisis that's going on in the EU over the Greek debt that was being negotiated yesterday. And, of course, Germany vetoed the idea that Greece would be given a 6-month extension. And as part of that discussion, as it was being live blogged by The Telegraph in the UK, they pointed out that the European Central Bank was forced to deny reports that it had discussed capital controls. You understand what that's about. That's about saying you can't move your money. One of the things that came out in this report, they said the ECB has moved to increase its cap on emergency support for lenders. This is not guaranteed until after the end of the month. So they're going to continue to emergency support for lenders, but at the end of the month, they are not going to do that. So things are really coming to a head. There's a real animosity building between the nation of Greece and Germany. They seem to be at loggerheads over this. Alan Greenspan believes that Greece is going to exit the EU. If that happens, if that sets a precedent, what's that going to do for the rest of the EU? We've got a lot of political movements throughout Europe that are wanting to get out of the EU. And, of course, the EU is a very important part of global government. They created the EU. They created NAFTA, these trading organizations, these consolidations. These are all part of a stepping stone. And the next step in the stone is to unite these organizations with the transatlantic, with the trans-Pacific partnerships. What happens, though, if those blocks that they have created start to unravel? I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's go to Peter in Washington. Go ahead, Peter.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're on. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. I'd like to talk about I agree with most of your practical issues, maybe all of them, but not with some of the historical. And the one I want, many of the historical, and I want to discuss the Smedley Butler issue. Butler claimed that there were a lot of rich people in New York that were planning in 1934 to overthrow Franklin Roosevelt and set up a fascist dictatorship.
Yeah, Prescott, is it Prescott Bush or Preston Bush? George Bush's father was one of the ringleaders that he identified. Go ahead.
Stein, who was the co-chairman, was a NKVD agent and received $1,000 a month, which was good money back then. Here's the thing.
Hang on. I'm sorry to do this to you, but we're coming up to a hard break. I'll hold on through the commercial, and we'll come back to you right after we come back. Stay with us, Peter in Washington. We've also got coming up Karen, Terrence, Steve, and others. We'll be right back with your calls.